All right, so you're welcome back from the Business Tips and Investment Codes. This is Business Edition. We are live on DSTV channel 277, and we are transmitting to you live from our studios here at Laboni, Accra. Currently, I'm checking on my Facebook page, and we're also live on Facebook. I have my guest seated here already. I have Scott Shilling, who is a financial consultant to my immediate right. You're welcome, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome to Ghana also.
Yes, I've been having a great time here too as well.
You've been having a great time. I was going to ask about that, but once you say you've been having a great time, yes, that's Ghana, and that's exactly what we do.
Correct.
Very hospitable.
Very.
So I'm sure you are enjoying the environment.
Yes, I am.
And preparing to come back very soon.
Yes.
Right. So to my extreme right is Dr. Owusu Kizito, the Chief Executive Officer of a group called Investigroup. So I'm going to ask him what Investigroup is, and then we can begin the discussions from there. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is your first time on Business Edition, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one. Can you tell us about what Investigroup is?
Thank you. Investigroup is a management consulting firm, international management consulting firm, because we are in the United States, multiple offices over there, and Ghana here. Started over in 2009, but coming in a big way to help out, and we are also located in China. We do business management consulting, financial consulting, accounting, taxes, and quite recently project management. So we are like a one-stop shop for businesses.
For particularly the service sector or service and product sectors?
It's actually both, because we service both all industries. It could be the service sector and it could be the product sector as well.
I saw a quote somewhere that you have written. It says, "Don't let the economic climate define your business. Turn every threat into an opportunity and take full advantage of your resources." And I was wondering what exactly you mean by that. Was that around the 2009 economic crunches, or that's a term you have for everybody that wants to set up a business?
You bet. Thank you. It looks like you did a little research on our page, and I like that. See, businesses don't actually fail. They don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan.
Wow.
Okay, so what do I mean by that? If you have a very good business plan, you will never fail. And most businesses, they just go about doing anything, not having a plan. You know, some people may think, oh, it's only funding that I'm having troubles with. Meantime, it could be management issues. Could be any other issues like strategic planning. It could be not talking to the right folks to help them with their business development. So we say that if you have any challenges, you can take advantage of our resources by talking to the right folks. And Investigroup does that very well.
So I'm going to go into details of that in a short while, but let me come to you, Scott. Sure. What exactly are you looking at? Now that you have come to Ghana Investigroup, trying to set up and all of that, what should we be expecting? Because I see financial consultants, I see financial experts who are ready to help the economy grow, particularly our SMEs, and I know that you are into other investments like real estate, like oil and all of that. But for now, as you are in the country, what exactly are you looking at?
Well, the ideal situation is we want to help bring, the country to the level of where the emerging technology that's out there should be here and implemented in this country. I mean, it's been decades that they've had waste-to-energy projects that everyone has been talking about, and the whole world knows that we can convert municipal waste into energy, and it doesn't happen. So I think one of the things that we want to do as a group is shed some light as to why it's not getting done, and hopefully prevent a lot of the greed that comes from both sides, whether it be from the government institution, whether it is from the private sector, and try to make things work for the right reasons. So this is something that doesn't happen just here. It happens also in the United States as well, too, and unfortunately the public is suffering. But I think what we would like to do is bring good technologies, like I said, waste to energy, and hopefully that will be around the corner. And at the same time, would like to provide that energy so the people in the poorest of the poor regions can get the energy for free and not go back to the individuals like ourselves that make more money. It's not necessary. So the reality is that these grants do exist. Geneva has the ability to pay for this for free. The problem is when the business institutions...
I'm interested in that because it is not for small and medium-scale enterprises alone. Even for large entities, we have in our part of the world and in this country the very problem of saying we are not being able to access capital for our businesses, to finance our businesses whichever way, not even in just one sector, but in all of the sectors. And the issue is that if we are not getting the capital, the access to capital, then we are not starting the business at all, or we are not growing.
And again, it all goes back, you know, to the thing is that it's all a return on equity. So unless it's a grant, it's going to be very difficult to come by, because the reality is that it's very difficult to judge or get that equity from something that does not exist. So again, our hope is that, I think with a good strategy where we have some really good business ideas that can be quite profitable, but at the same time bring great technologies that can help lift the country into a much better light, and it does exist. But it requires the fortitude to not be to be focused on just the return of equity on these projects that need to be given to the public.
So, moving forward, are you engaging government already, or that's just a plan you're having, and then you will begin to engage the private sector people from the private sector before you get to government?
Correct, and we started that process. And one of the things that we want to make a commitment to the people of Ghana is that whatever the proceeds that we receive, we want to give a lot back to the community and keep it here and not take it out of the country, and that's one of our goals.
Right. You have a lot of exploits. You mentioned where your offices are across the world, in China, here and there. Can you tell us about a few of your exploits? So we are hopeful that Investigroup is coming into Ghana. Ghana now we have a very credible financial consultancy firm that we can walk up to anytime for very low charges. Anyway, we'll come to the charges. So
all right.
let's get into it.
Yes, thank you. One thing that Scott mentioned, we have the ability to help small to medium-sized business as well with funding. So, I mean, I just don't want to say we can't help with funding. We can. So that is something that is available. Concerning
so let me get this clear. Funding from Investigroup.
From Investigroup,
or
yes.
you would create the platform for funding?
Both. Investigroup has the ability to help in that concern, as well as we have a bunch of companies we work with, syndicate of investors that can come in to help our companies.
So if I'm a business organization now, I'm just trying to lay everything to the layman who may be watching us, because you are financial gurus, so to speak. So it is not everybody that would understand the context of what you're talking about. So if I have a business today and I want to expand, or if I don't have a business at all, but I have the idea, I have the plans, and I'm ready to expand, I've made all the contacts, I should walk up to Investigroup today. And then what happens? You're going to either give me the funds or create a platform for me to be able to access the money from a bank.
Thank you. In the layman's term, bring your plan. Even if you don't have one, we're going to help you create one. With that plan that we are going to use.
Draw the plan for me?
Yeah, draw the plan for you. Your vision, that's the most important thing. You have a mission, you have a vision, we help you carry out that vision. So you bring the plan to us, or we help you create one, then we take you to that level where you can access funds. There is no scarcity of money on this planet. So we will make sure we find the right financiers for you to make sure your dreams are realized. That's very important. So people that they have the plan, come to us. If you don't have the plan, we will help you create one as well. And once we do that, you will be able to, actually achieve your dream. As I said, businesses don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. So with a good plan, you can assess your dreams. That's the most important thing.
I'll come back to you, but there is this thing that has been bothering me. Once you're a financial consultant, we are going to continue with the three thematic projects that we were talking about. We have talked about one, but in Ghana here, microfinance has been a very big problem to us. As you are coming in, is it something that you are going to focus on, the microfinance industry, because we are talking about not having adequate access, adequate regulations, adequate all of the things that you are talking about in your financial terms? Are you going to maybe look at that, the microfinance industry?
No, absolutely, that would be a goal. But like I said, at least for the industries that I'm in touch with, it's very difficult to tap into that. They're more geared towards things that have less risk. So hopefully we can change that. So by keeping, like I said, some of the investments, whether it be like a waste-to-energy plant, it could be multiple projects that we work on, rather than those funds leave the country, they stay within us for all those type of, whether it be, financing the micro sector of the economy or building goodwill projects. So that's the best way that we can provide that for now, because again, like I said, in in the other part of the world, it's very difficult to bring that kind of capital here. It just doesn't really exist, unfortunately.
Let me ask you this, how much are you bringing in? What's your base capital?
Well, let me rephrase it. When I say that, I'm talking with some of the larger institutions, and why it's very difficult to get that funding. But as far as that would be something Dr. Kizito can answer better with regards to
on the microfinance. Would you want to touch on that?
Sure. Very good. Microfinance, yes, we can. In fact, I'm in touch with some few guys that I'm talking to. We literally can recapitalize them. If they are going under because their capitalization is less, they talk to us. We can repackage them and get them more funded. So that's available. A straight answer to your question is yes, we can help those businesses who are going under with more capitalization.
And again, you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm talking more on the macro projects. And dealing with that sector is totally different than the micro sector. Two separate things. So to bridge the two are two separate things.
I'm getting excited about all that you are bringing in. You were talking about your exploits in other countries before I cut in. So can we land on that? Okay. And then we move on to my next question.
All right. Thank you, sir. It's very important we bring the best and the brightest into Ghana. And that is the platform Investigroup is bringing to Ghana. Coming from Ghana, I never forget my roots. And I believe I should bring...
Which part of Ghana are you from?
I'm from Konongo.
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 The name Kizito?
Yes. Kizito is interesting name. It's a Catholic
Very
saint.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My father had this beautiful name for me, and people asked me, I said, my name is from Uganda, a Ugandan saint.
Right.
Yes,
So
landing on that question, we bring the best and the brightest. I have Shilling here, a United States financial consultant, came with me on the ability to help the country with our investments and finance and projects. We haven't even touched the projects, but we'll talk about that. We have office in China. What is it doing in China? We are bringing Chinese consultants, in fact, the best and the brightest from China as well, to come and take on projects here in Ghana. So Investigroup is here creating the platform to bring all consultants that we have access to help us in our development. So it could be feeder roads that we need to construct, and we need Chinese contractors. They are right here with us. American contractors, they will come. In fact, European contractors, they will come. So that is the platform Investigroup has for Ghana.
Let me come to you, Scott. Can we go through the three major projects, and then when we are done, we have some few things. I was talking to you about the $2.25 billion bond and whether you would want to comment. But let's finish with the projects, three major projects that you are looking at as of now.
Well, one of them, which you mentioned, was the waste to energy, and hopefully that will start a model in terms of how the infrastructure can be built here in Ghana.
When can you give us timelines when you intend to start that?
Well, we would be willing to start today, but the problem is that it takes some time. But hopefully, if we get the right model in place, we can have it in a hopefully in the short future, in the near term. There's another project we're in discussion, so at this point, we're in the works. But then the other project, which would deal more with commodities like titanium, which I think there's a lot of value in them, and if we can provide those precious metals here, and again, when we talk about keeping it to the point where we don't give it all to the private sector, but kind of spread the wealth to the public. Because, for instance, the spreads on the spot price for titanium is significant, and if we can keep that within, like I said, control of the government to the extent where it goes back to the people to pay for a lot of these services, and that's one of the other projects as well.
That's the second one, the commodities.
Yes.
And then the final one is, we've talked about the waste energy. We have talked about the commodities, the titanium.
Maybe we'll come on next time and we'll talk about it. And we'll celebrate.
We'll bring you back to go into the details, because I am getting excited about what you are bringing on board in this country. It looks as if we are going into a new direction. You want to add something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The third one, you will talk about
there was and it was also fertilizer.
Oh, we don't want the public to know and take the lead ahead of you.
This is another one as well that we're working on, which is the fertilizer, and hopefully we can bring again the product to the country at a reasonable price and not take the profits out of the country.
That sounds good, because you are from Ghana. You know how that sector operates in the country, smuggling and all of that. So if you want to get in and make it proper and well formalized, I'm sure it will help us. So Investigroup You are bringing all of these on board. I'll be asking you about, I have to ask you about that question, but you wanted to add something to it before I cut it.
Exactly. The fertilizer, the goal is to reduce the cost of our fertilizer, what we are buying from outside the country, because we buy so much fertilizer. Our product is at a low cost, high quality, and that is exactly the plan that we have for the government of Ghana, and it's in negotiation right now.
So I'm now moving away from all of that to the other questions that I want to ask. You are talking about spreading everything between the private sector and the public sector, but the new government, which is the NPP government, says it wants the backbone of the economy to be the private sector. And so now the focus is shifting from the public sector, which previously used to be in existence, now to the private sector, where the new SMEs drive, the planting for food and jobs, even in agri, the reliance is going to be on the private sector. Are you suggesting that as financial experts, it would not be that prudent to rely solely on the private sector or mainly on the private sector?
I believe it's the private sector is the way to go, 100%. The challenge we have with the private sector is they are not as developed a platform that we can use when we come from places like United States. So we tend to revert to the government. But I keep telling my partners that the private sector is the way to go, because if you look at all the advanced countries, you know, they all got divested to the private sector, and that's exactly the model we should use to be successful. But we start from somewhere. The public sector, we go to the government, get approvals, then move on to the private sector. So we are looking at a time, maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, where the systems will be working perfectly, like seamlessly, and we can do things through the private sector without the government, too much involvement with the government.
So, Scott, do you agree that we should rely on the private sector, and probably government should provide a conducive environment for the private sector to operate, or we should just allow them to operate?
No, absolutely the private sector, because that's usually the backbone and that adds the character. But again, unfortunately, that's usually the riskier side of the situation. So that will take time to evolve. But hopefully, as things stabilize and we can bring these good technologies to the country, things will change, and hopefully the world will look at Ghana differently. And with that, maybe greater expansion down the road.
My time is almost up, but I'm sure I'll bring you back again to now get into the details of the finance of the economy, various sectors of the economy. But if we want to get to you, as Investigroup, you are coming to Ghana, you are just about setting up, or have you set up already?
We are riding right on. We started way back in 2009. We're coming big this time.
Wow.
So anybody that want to see us, we are at East Legon, PNS Plaza. PNS Plaza.
PNS Plaza?
Yeah.
Okay, you have any contact that we can just put across?
Yes, sir. Phone number is 0244 720034.
720034. So, Investigroup, let me just thank you for joining us this evening. And
thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll get you back here to talk about pure finance. We haven't had the time to talk about. We have just touched on the private sector just a little bit. So, Investigroup is a financial consulting firm. They are in the country to help the government, help the private sector develop the economy of the country. That's what we've been talking about, and how the private sector can be used as a tool of development for the whole of the economy of the country. My name is Kwasi Appiah. Thank you very much for staying with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of our programs.